there's a contradiction between, there's two things here I mentioned. One is that there's a prophet sent to every nation, or a messenger or whatever. Then there's also another statement that if you didn't get the message, and a lot of Muslims make this into like a majority thing, that if you didn't get the message, then you're excused. Whereas, well, if Allah did his job properly, then why would there be like holes in the... It's like you created a video game and it's full of bugs. Like half of the levels don't work. You can never reach some of the, like there's some diamonds you have to get to, but like you can never get to them, right? The developer made it impossible or something. He
sent 124,000 patches to update the bug.
Yeah, and then but yet, you know, you have Muslims, especially like Hamza Yusuf style Muslims. They say the majority of non-Muslims are not kafir. Why? What does kafir mean? Someone that denies the truth willingly and, you know, knowingly. So like we would be probably would be kafir because we know Islam. Yeah. But apparently, like, you know, your grandma or, you know, some white lady that lives in, you know, New York, even though she knows about Islam, even though she's heard of Prophet and she doesn't like Islam, she would not be kafir, supposedly.
What the hell is the point?
This is kind of unfair to us that who did hear about Islam, right? So for example, if I'm living far away, and I never heard about Islam, I can party and do whatever I want in this life and still go to heaven in the afterlife. But if there's somebody who's heard of Islam, well, shit, now you have to accept it or you're screwed, you know?
Well, the funny thing is the Quran actually, the Quran completely messes up its whole message because it doesn't get this whole thing right. You know, being just and holding people accountable for knowing and rejecting the Quran. The Quran makes different approaches and it tells Muhammad that he has to warn everybody and those who were warned have no choice but to obey. And then it says after Muhammad is unsuccessful, the Quran says, you know, there is nothing you can do, O Prophet. If Allah wanted them to believe, they would believe. But what the hell does that mean, man? What does believing mean? What does believing entail? Believing means if I believe in Islam, that means I have been consciously, cognitively, knowingly convinced that Islam is true, which is why I decided, okay, hey, you know what? It makes sense. I believe in Islam. Okay, I am now a Muslim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and so on. So this is what I would do. You know, that means believing. Believing means being convinced that it is the truth. If it is in Allah's hands, if Allah can decide whether I believe or not, doesn't that mean that it is in Allah's hands whether I'm convinced or not? How is that my fault? If I do not believe, if it simply seems absurd to me, and this is the truth, this is what it is. And Muslims come here doubting our motives, but I say very honestly and very clearly to you, I simply do not believe that Islam is true. I simply believe that it is absurd. I believe it is stupid, which is why I make fun of it. I think it is dangerous and wrong, which is why I reject it and criticize it. If I did believe that it was true, if I only had a doubt that it was possibly true, I would not make fun of it. I would acknowledge it and believe in it. And according to the Quran, if Allah wanted me to believe, then I would believe. So how does that make sense?
Yeah, let's be honest. How can anyone know it's true and still reject it? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. He's saying a kafir is someone that knows it's true, like actually knows, actually believes in Allah, like kind of like the archetypical Satan. Satan knows Allah is real, yet he still refuses to obey Allah. Like he sees Allah, he knows Allah is real, and he's saying that's the real kafir.
I'm sorry, such a person does not exist unless he's...
How can such a person exist? If you know hell is real and you don't, and you still reject it, you're just crazy.
Yeah.
You're broken. You're not, your intellect is not functioning because, you know, we've evolved. I mean, there's no such thing as evolved in Islam, but we have pain avoidance. We have survival tendencies for a reason. So that's what Islam tries to use against us. It tries to use a fear of suffering to make us submit to, you know, this false idea, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even if I was completely selfish, even if I completely just looked out for my own good, it would be the dumbest idea ever to know that hell exists, that I will go to hell, and then to choose to disbelieve and go to hell. I mean, even if I was a selfish pig, it would be the dumbest thing to do to go to hell, you know.
But
why would I do that?
You are a selfish pig talking about Islam all day. How dare you? I mean, to be honest, Allah needs to be able to take a little bit of a joke. I'm sure the creator of the fucking universe doesn't need to get butthurt over a few insignificant Homo sapiens, joking around at the end of the day, right? Like, I mean, you don't just believe it's false, you know it's false. When people ask us, is there any chance of us going back to Islam? I mean, theoretically, but
Zero.
How? Like,
it's too silly and too dumb. Like, it's straight up like not trying to be condescending, but it is borderline low IQ bullshit. That is what it is. I'll be straight up. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
Absolutely. I see no reason why I would ever convert or revert back to Islam. It's just I am completely convinced that it is complete bullshit. There is no, I see no possibility of ever converting back to Islam.
And it's not like, to me, like now Islam, when I think about Islam, in my head, it occupies the same space as Scientology, Mormonism, FLDS. Yeah, man, because it is equally bad. Or like some. Yeah. And what I mean by low IQ is the ideas and the set of ideas contained in the Islamic theology are very, very. Now, I'm not saying that every Muslim is low IQ or terribly and not smart. No, what happens with smart people is compartmentalization of knowledge, where you store your religious beliefs is in a different part of the brain, so you don't really look at them or analyze them with the same rigor that you do the world around you. So you'll see, like, I actually know cosmologists with PhDs, astronomers who believe the Earth is 6,000 years old, right? And they'll be working for NASA. You'll have Muslim doctors, Muslim neuroscientists who will try to explain to you that genies possessing you are real, right? So what Sam Harris said, religion can make sane people believe in things that only lunatics could believe on their own. And that's the point that I'm getting to.